1950s. It was in compliance with the master plan, so it's going forward. So we're happy. Environmentally, we'll be better off. There's not going to be a major traffic issue. It's going to be a huge rateable for the borough, and it's not going to be housing. CDC hosted a meeting for Fair Lawn residents at the end of summer and is currently investigating pediatric cancer clusters in our community. Do you have any update on this that you can share? Thank you. No, Olga, at this point, no, there's been nothing that they've found. To those who are aware, unfortunately, there was a student that passed away way too early from Radburn Elementary School, and there was a couple other cases. So as you can imagine, we quickly notified the state, and they are doing a review on it. But as of now, there has been nothing found. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you, Maribel. I appreciate it. Why is it that when some construction is going on, for example, PSC&G fixing the water break, when they finish, they're doing such a terrible job patching up the road? It's like a roller coaster when driving, especially on Maple. They're uneven. It's ridiculous. I can't agree more with you on that one. It's extremely frustrating, and I know that a couple of mayor conferences that I'm part of bring this up. So what we've tried to do as a borough is, if PSE&G has some work that they're planning on doing, and this is the other issue, when PSE&G tears up a street, if they only tear up half of it, they're not required to pave the whole street, which is absurd. So they cut up half the street, and then the other half looks totally different. So, and I want to thank our borough manager and DPW because they've gone ahead of this, and they're now working with PSE&G where if there's any scheduled work, that they will hold off paving that road till that work is completed, and then both sides could then be paved together. The other issue is that, as you can imagine, not every construction project is planned. If there is something that goes wrong and they have to get into the road, then they just go in there and repave it. This is something that myself and a bipartisan coalition of mayors are bringing to the state's attention. We really want them to require that the state makes PSE&G pave a whole street, not just do the patchwork. It doesn't look good, and it's not helpful. I was actually I had a basketball game with my older son this evening, and just driving down Ridgewood on Ackerman was a complete disaster. And you could see the patches all over the place. And I know the residents of Ridgewood aren't happy about it. I wasn't happy driving about it. And you know it's something that PSE&G did and needs to be fixed. Greek Development is not doing any residential housing. There is none in their portfolio. Yes, Olga, Greek developers were not the only company that was interested in purchasing the property. As you can imagine, there was a number of developers that wanted it for housing that would have offered more than $146 million for the property. But once it was told to all these developers that we would not allow residential housing in Mondelez, then they did not go forward with it. That's great. How does the water quality at Nabisco affect us? Sorry if this was addressed. No problem, Corey. Great question. So the issue with that area is that's our industrial park, right? So there was a number of businesses that were there. And what they did back when they didn't oversee this stuff is they allowed the pollutants to go into our groundwater. That groundwater then seeped through. What we've done is we've shut down the wells in that surrounding area. What we then did was require that the ones who made the pollutants then pay for the fix. Fortunately, we had the federal government agree with us. So $20 million is currently being invested, and the work is currently occurring right now to do huge upgrades for those filtration systems in those wells. At the same time, was it 8? It was when Ed Chewinski and Jeannie Barada were on the council, so I guess it would be about 10 years ago. There was a study that was brought in by the state that showed where the plume was originally. That plume has shrunk significantly, and it continuously shrinks. Now with this development that's going with the Greek development underneath by Nabisco, they're now required to get rid of the plume in that area, which is going to help us speed track this a lot faster. Based on the proposal we have from the state, it would have taken a lot longer because it is an expensive thing to do. But once a property is redeveloped, it has to clear a number of environmental hurdles. And in this case, it really helps us out financially and environmentally. Please save the video if possible. Yeah, of course. These videos are up. I don't touch them once we're done with them. Mr. Mayor, can you tell me clearly what the rules are about overnight or daily parking on this street? Yeah, so the first one with daily parking is you just have to abide by the signs. So there are some signs that you'll see on some streets where they say like no parking 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You got to abide by those. And that's everyone, even the residents that live here. How those signs and those rules are developed is it's actually a very democratic process. So, and we're going through this right now. So if anyone's familiar with Carroll Place, sorry, I might go a little bit off, but I think this is helpful. Carroll Place, which is off of Plaza Road when you come off of Route 208, it's a dead end. And the big issue that they're having there is that Uber Eats and DoorDash, all those drivers are parking at DoorDash because it's a good central location for them. Those residents obviously don't want them parked there. So what they're doing now is they put together a petition signed by the residents saying, we want no parking here from 12 to 3. That petition then comes to the council. The council works with our traffic safety department to make sure it's accurate, review it, and then we vote to approve it. I can only speak for myself, but I've seen firsthand Carroll Place is a mess with these Uber Eats and DoorDash drivers. So I am in favor of having no parking from 12 to 3, as the residents are. So a lot of the signs that you see for the daily parking are just based on what the residents in that community want. On the second one with overnight parking, to get overnight parking, you need to have a hardship permit. So it goes through our police department and you have to sell a case to our officers of why you need it. It could be you have a relative that's staying with you for a year. It could be you have your high school child just got their license and your driveway's not wide enough yet for a third car, so you need this for a time being. So that's the process for both, and based on the rules for both daily parking and overnight parking. I hope that helps. And to follow up, the Fairlawn Building Department issued a demolition permit for the former Nabisco building without making sure all the asbestos had been removed. The EPA and Department of Labor are currently investigating noncompliance with asbestos abatement. Do you have any update on this? What has been done by the council to protect its residents and the nearby communities? Yeah, nothing. I've never seen that or heard that before, Olga. Anything that gets removed on that property has to get verified by the state first. That's the